Hello everyone, welcome to Maths with Smart Tips. In this video, we will discuss the basic terminologies on mathematical probability. So this is the third video on probability and statistics. In the previous two videos, I already discussed the random variables, PMF, PDF, and basic distribution function and their properties. So in this video, we will discuss the basic terms on mathematical probability. So the first term we need to know to read the mathematical probability section, which is well known as random experiment. So what is random experiment? So an event generally means an act which will produce some results and can be repeated under identical or uniform conditions. So this is known as an experiment. And by random experiments we mean an experiment of whose all outcomes are known, but which one going to happen at the particular performance is unknown. So let us take an example to understand properly. So the tossing of a coin, we know that if we toss a coin, then there must be occur head or tail, but which one occurs, that means either head comes or tail comes, we don't know, but we know that either heads or tail will definitely come. So this is an example of random experiment. Similarly, throwing a die, we know that if we throw a die, then the results become 1 to 6. That means it can 1 happens, it can 2 comes, 3 comes, 4 comes, or 5 comes, or 6 comes. But which one comes, which number comes, we don't know the result. So this is the example of random experiment. Now let us come to the outcomes. So what is the outcomes? The result of the random experiment is known as outcome. Suppose this head tossing a coin is an outcome, tail to tossing a coin, for tossing a coin an outcomes, so on and so on. So trial and event. So next we will come to trial and event. So a particular performance of a random experiment is called a trial, and outcomes or a combination of outcomes are termed as events. For example, in throwing a die, we know that in a die there are 6 numbers, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The set of even number, that is A, is an event. Similarly set of odd number is an event, and you can define different types of events based on the throwing of a die results. So next we will come to exhaustive events. What is exhaustive events? Total number of possible outcomes of a random experiment is known as exhaustive events. For example, in a tossing a coin, there are 2 exhaustive events, that means head or tails. These 2 are the possible events for tossing a die. Simply you can take another example. Suppose you are throwing a die. So if you throw a die, then total possible outcomes are 6. 1 can happens, 2 can happens, 3 can happens, and similarly 4, 5 and 6 also comes. So these possible events are the exhaustive events. Now we discuss the different types of events. The different type of events are simple event, compound event, equally likely event, mutually exclusive or disjoint event, complementary event, null or impossible event, and certain or sure event. So let us come to the different type of events one by one. So let us come first the simple event. So what is the simple event? An event is said to be simple event if it cannot be decomposed further in smallest event, that is it is the unique and it cannot be decomposed. So this is called the simple events. For example, tossing a coin, the event head or tail are simple events. So in tossing a die, there are no events, or you can't break these events, head comes or tails comes. You can't decompose this type of events. So this type of events are simple event, example of simple events. Now let's come to compound events. So what is compound events? An event is said to be compound event if it can be further decomposed into simple events. So let us take the examples. So for throwing a die, odd face comes is an compound event. Why? Since in the odd face there are 3 points, 1, 3 and 5. If we decompose this odd phase, that is if we take the event 1 comes or 3 comes or 5 comes, then this is the decomposed version of this event, odd phase. So this is odd phase in compound event, example of an compound event. Now let us come to the next event, that means equally likely event. If a random experiment, a set of events is said to be, I write twice, a set of event is said to be equally likely if there is no reason to believe that any one of them is more likely to happen than the other. For example, if we throw a die, then all the events 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are equally likely. Similarly, for tossing a coin, the event head and tail are also equally likely event. Now the next event is mutually exclusive event. What is mutually exclusive event? In any random experiment, two events are said to be mutually exclusive or disjoint if they can never happen simultaneously. So this is very easy, and the example of this type of events are also very easy. For example, in tossing of a coin, head and tail can't happen simultaneously. So these two type events are mutually exclusive events. Now let us come to the complementary event. What is complementary event? In an random experiment, if any event, then the event not A is said to be complementary event of A. For example, in throwing a die, complementary event of an event 6, that means if we take the event A as 6 occurs, then the complement of A is denoted by A complement is 6 does not occurs. This is the example of complementary events. Now next event is null event. In a random experiment, an event is said to be null event or impossible event if it can never be happen. That means 7 occurs in throwing a die. We all know that in a die there are 6 faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, but 7 is not included in the die space. So if we take the event 7 occurs, so this is completely impossible. So this type of event is known as impossible event. Now let us come to the next type of events, which is known as certain event or sure event. So in any random experiment, an event is said to be certain event or sure event if it always happens. That means if we take, for tossing of a coin, either head or tail occurs, then either one of these must be happen. So this is an example of an sure event or certain event. So this is the content for this video. If the video is helpful, then please give a like to this video, and if you any doubt about this video, then please do comment me in the comment section below. And if you need any other topic, so please then also do comments me in the comment section below, share with your friends and subscribe the channel. Thank you friends, see you again in the next video.